What is up, guys and girls? Today we're looking at the best sport styled 125cc bikes available. So this is solely my opinion and you can take it or leave it. In this list I've included the 7 bikes I feel are worthy of a spot in this list. I've based them purely on looks and from my own opinions. As being 125cc's, they are fairly similar in terms of performance. Whilst I'm sure some of you are looking for that information, I have included some of the performance specs of the bikes. Please bear in mind that as standard, most of these bikes will be seeing you hit around 70 to 80 miles an hour, and not too much more despite modifications. At number 7 is the Honda CBR 125R. The Honda CBR is a name synonymous with sport styling and racing heritage. This bike earns the number 7 spot on our list because for me the styling is less aggressive than other bikes on the list. It simply doesn't have the sharp edges and aggression that some of the other contenders have. It's a single cylinder 124.7cc bike with 6 gears and it produces 13.1 brake horsepower. It's a fairly low bike with a seat height of 795mm, so it's good for short riders. Top speed sees good for around 71 mile an hour and its wet weight is 136.9 kilograms. So being a Honda, the reliability is likely to be excellent, and as a Japanese bike it's likely to be bomb-proof. It offers conventional suspension at the front, which while there's little difference in performance to some of the other bikes, it just means that whilst it will undoubtedly serve its intended purpose, it just doesn't look as sporty as its competitors. For the price, I'd be looking for a little more bang for my buck. So coming in at number 6 is the Lexmoto Hawk. I'm about to take a bit of a hit for including a Chinese motorbike in this list. Perhaps rightfully so, but perhaps not. Let's remember that Lexmoto are, after all, the 6th best-selling bike brand in the UK at the moment. The Hawk also comes in at the cheaper end of the scale. This bike comes in at a shade under £2,000 brand new. Most people looking for a 125 are probably on a budget, and with a 2-year warranty for that price, Lexmoto has faith in their product. The bikes do look great. Its styling is very sporty and it does look like a proper little sports bike. It is, however, a little underwhelming in the performance department. It's again a single cylinder, 4-stroke air-cooled engine weighing in at 135 kilograms wet, but it only has a top speed of 62 miles an hour, so it's certainly not the fastest bike in the category. But a 125 machine's all about speed. If I was 17 and answering this question, it would probably be yes. The Hawk puts out 7 kilowatts of power, and according to Google that's only 9 horsepower, or 8 more horsepower than an actual horse. That said, I think you'd find it a challenge to find 8 horses for under £2,000 unless you're looking inside a Tesco's burger. In at number 5 is Suzuki's GSX-R 125. Suzuki is one of the newer players in the 125cc market, and with their little gsxr they have made a wonderfully styled bike. Its LED front headlights and motogp styling give it all the looks of bigger GSX-Rs, but in a much smaller package. The double curved front fairing is typical Suzuki, and they've done a great job in bringing big bike looks to the 125 class. Suzuki even went as far as releasing a track video for this bike for its launch. It's the first bike on this list to hit the full 125cc displacement, popping out 15 brake horsepower and has a top speed of, well, I'm going to be honest, Suzuki haven't exactly been forthcoming with the top speed of their little 125. So we're going to assume that it's in the 70 to 80 mile an hour bracket as standard. If you know differently, let me know in the comments. The GSX-R does come in with a fairly hefty price tag of £4,099, so maybe out of reach for most 17-year-olds brand new. But if your parents have got deep pockets, good luck in convincing them that you really need that bike. At 4 we have the Rieju RS125. The Rieju 125 is a great little contender here. It looks certainly fit the bill as a sports bike, and its race style graphics along with its contrasting colours make it a great looking bike. Lest we forget that this bike uses a 4-stroke, 4-valve liquid cooled engine that develops 15 horsepower. It has a 6-speed gearbox housed in a lightweight responsive frame. The 2013 version of this bike also won Best Overall 125 in Motorcycle News. The Spanish bike maker is certainly causing a splash in the market, and it's no wonder. With well-documented exploits, the Rieju can hit speeds of 85 miles an hour plus, making it potentially the fastest bike in this category. You can pick up a brand new bike for £3,799 if it's in race colours, or surprisingly, you can pay more for it not to look like a race bike at £3,999 for standard colours. Before we get to our top picks, remember to pause the video and hit that like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon and YouTube will decide whether it lets you know about my latest video or not based on an algorithm they don't seem particularly sure about. Just making the podium is the Aprilia RS125 or RS125. Aprilia is the name that first comes to my mind when you're thinking of small displacement sports bikes. The Aprilia RSs of old are the stuff of legend with their noisy, smoky, screaming 2-stroke engines. They were the stuff of wet dreams for 17-year-olds up and down the country in days gone by. Since then though, the RS125 has become more refined. Masquerading as an Italian aristocrat, it's dumped its 2-stroke, balls-to-the-wall heritage and moved into a more modern 4-stroke engine, being just shy of 15 brake horsepower, with a top speed of 76 miles an hour. There is no doubt that the RS125 is a beautiful machine with Italian spirit oozing from its very being. That said, at £4,699, it won't leave much cash oozing out of your pocket. In true Aprilia fashion, it's the most expensive bike on this list, but it doesn't quite live up to the screaming banshees of old. That said, I'd still park it in the garage if I had some spare cash knocking around. At number 2 is the Marmite of the 125cc sports bike world. And okay, I'm a little bit biased as I own a KTM RC125. This bike is one that will quickly divide opinions. I've had experiences of people coming to me and saying, wow, that bike looks incredible. It has genuinely stopped people at bike meets who have come to ask me about it and tell me they love it. On the other hand, I've also had 1 or 2 people tell me that it looks duck-faced and, well, it's the one bike on this list that will divide opinions most, and I fortunately fall on the side of loving it. KTM doesn't seem to have the best reputation for build quality, and there are definitely some minor details with my bike that I hate, but that's covered up by the fact that in my opinion the rest of the bike looks awesome. This bike is exactly the same as the RC390 in terms of its chassis, with the engine of course being smaller, but at £4,299 it certainly isn't cheap. It's 124.7cc displacement and a 6-speed gearbox, producing 14.8 brake horsepower. It's an incredibly light bike at 135 kgs dry, but it does have a tiny fuel tank, meaning that regular fuel stops are guaranteed. The bike tops out at about 78 miles an hour and behaves well in town and on quicker roads. It is to me the essence of a small sports bike. It's quick, it's fairly loud, and its bright orangey lairiness screams sports bike. Before we reveal our top pick for our number 1 small sports bike, I'd like to tell you to buy some stickers or a hoodie or some merchandise in general, but I don't have any, so don't bother. Go and buy somebody else's. Coming in at number 1, and in my mind the current king of the 125cc sport bike class, is the Yamaha YZF 125. This bike looks like a proper monster. Its sharp lines and angles make it look like something that's ready to chew you up and spit you out. Until, like all of these bikes, you start the engine and get a similar noise to a sewing machine. But they are 125s. They aren't going to be howling demons after all. The Yamaha looks like it would be totally at home on a track, For me, it's the most aggressive looking of the bikes, and along with the KTM, has one of the more aggressive riding positions. It's a 124.7cc bike with 6 gears, upside down suspension and a tall seat height with low clip-ons. This gives the truest sports bike feeling when you're on it. It also runs a top speed of 79 miles an hour, just pipping the KTM. Hailing from the legendary Yamaha R series, it looks up to its bigger brothers, the R6 and R1, and does not at all shame itself from the family. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this list, and again, if you'd be so kind as to hit the like and subscribe button, that would be appreciated. I'd like to produce more content like this. Do you agree with this list? That's perfect, as you can let me know in the comments how right I was and how I didn't at all forget any bikes that I should have included. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, see ya! Number 7 in our crikey, 1 brake horsepower. It's a fairly low bike with a seat height of 900. No, it's not. New. Most people looking for a 125. Oh, you're kidding. This one is like Marmite, and okay, I'm a bit biased as I own an RC125. Oh, you bloody kidding me.